It's been a while since I last did a Operation Protect the White Woman on my channel. I can't remember the last one I did and who it was on and exactly when it was. But this right here serves as an Operation Protect the White Woman and as an update. It's a 2-for-1 package deal. So if y'all don't remember, back in 2000, I believe 21, there was an incident that happened at a hotel in New York involving this woman that you see in this picture right here by the name of Miya Ponsetto. She ended up getting the nickname of Soho Karen. So basically a brief summary of the situation for those of y'all who forgot what happened. She was in an Uber and she basically had the Uber driver go back to the hotel where she was staying at to confront someone because she thought that someone had stole her iPhone. And then this black man and his son, at the time I believe his son was 13 or 14, she immediately runs over and attacks the 14-year-old boy, the little black boy, and claims that he stole her phone. Now we've all saw that video. That video went super viral. That was still at a time when the pandemic was still in, people were still wearing masks and everything like that. She went over and she attacked him, and the video went viral, and everybody was literally calling for this woman to be arrested, only to find out that this little boy did not have her iPhone. Now she thought that the phone was hers because he had an iPhone, and it looks like they probably had the same iPhone, but she assumed it was hers and tried to get it back from him. She tackled him and everything, and we was all saying the father got more patience than we did, because I'm telling you right now, people were saying if she had did that to their child, oh, she would have got tossed around. There would have been some furniture moving in that front lobby. But it turns out that her phone wasn't even stolen. Her phone was in the back seat of the Uber. It fell out of her pocket or her bag or whatever, because the Uber driver came in and say, "Miss or ma'am, here's your phone." So she did all of that for nothing, and she just straight up attacked this little black boy. And how ironic, because there was several other people that was walking around who happened to be non-black, but she went directly to the black child, the little black boy, because he just had to have stolen it. And mind you, it was other people there who had their phones out, because nowadays, of course, we live in a society where everyone has their phone in their hand. Many of those people had iPhones, but she went right directly to the black boy. And the thing is, she had to go past several people to get directly to him. It's almost like in her mind, this boy was the one that took her phone, when the whole time her phone was in the back seat of that Uber. So fast forward a little bit, of course, charges were ended up to be pressed, and immediately people wanted to hit her with a hate crime charge because of what happened. And this is the part that pisses me off, because you had people like Alvin Bragg. Yes, that Alvin Bragg, the same Alvin Bragg that allowed that farce of a trial to go and happen with Jonathan Majors and Grace Jabari. That same Alvin Bragg. I'm telling you, that man, that's where I first learned about him. A lot of people didn't know who he was until the Jonathan Majors situation, but I knew about him through this. This is how I found out about him, and that's why when he did what he did, or how he mishandled the Jonathan Majors situation, I said I'm not even surprised. If y'all knew about his history with this, that should not surprise you, because the same setup is kind of there. Here you have a white woman chasing after a black male figure, no matter how old the person is. In this case, it was a child, tackling him and attacking him and letting her basically go scot-free. So having Grace Jabari, a white woman, chase Jonathan Majors down the street at night in New York, and him having to go to trial, and basically him having to pay for her crimes under the same person, it's no coincidence. So back to this. He basically lets her go. Literally, this woman wasn't even from New York. I think she was from California. Then she goes to California. I mean, by that time, everyone knows who she is and sees her. And then there was another situation where she had got into it with another little reporter, not someone mainstream, anything like that. They was asking her some questions, and I think she was leaving out of a McDonald's or some kind of fast food spot, and she was giving him attitude. This woman comes off very narcissistic. Very egomaniac, a huge ego. And it doesn't surprise me, because this woman has a history, even with her own mother. Now, when I was looking up some stuff back then, when I was talking about her in heavy rotation and doing some research about her, some stuff came out about her mother. So when I'm thinking about it, I said, see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because her mother has a history too. And now when you look at her and her behavior, you say, oh, that's where she gets it from. Then another incident was when she had a sit down with her attorney and Gayle King. And if Gayle King wasn't so off code, it would be so much easier for me to defend her in this situation. But but how it went is Gayle King was just sitting there asking her questions about the incident and everything like that. And Miya, this is where I tell you, age does not define maturity, because at the time, Miya Ponsetto was like in her early 20s. She kept referring to herself as a child. She referred to the little boy she attacked as a man. Like, go back and listen to that and look at that. Some of y'all probably, oh, I remember when she said that. She referred to this 14-year-old boy as a man, and she referred to herself as a woman in her early 20s as a girl. Like, really put that into perspective. That has a huge anti-black history in and of itself, of showing black boys being pushed out there as grown men. They did the same thing with Tamir Rice. He was 12 years old when he was killed, but they said, oh, I thought he was 18. 18, 12, it didn't even matter what his age was. It's the fact that he was taken out the way that he was. Even if he was 18, what does it matter? But he was a 12-year-old boy. I was like, how did y'all look at this little boy who has this youthful childlike baby face and think that he's 18? I mean, I know they say black folk don't crack, but damn, really? Did y'all really think that that boy was 18? They actually tried to use that as a scapegoat. But I remember when she said this. But the thing that got me was when she was talking to Gayle King, a woman that's old enough to be her mother, when Gayle King was just simply asking her a question, and Miya literally mid-sentence, when Gayle was questioning her, told her to stop. She said, okay, Gayle, stop. And when she did it, she put her hand up as if to stop her from talking. Like, she did one of those things, like, you know how like back in the day you had women say, talk to the hand. That's what she did. Like, very disrespectful. But that's who she is, and her attorney sat right there and just like let her attorney look like she couldn't even control her. Like, she might as well just have sat there without the attorney being present and just let her dig her own ditch. Fast forward from there, Miya Ponsetto ends up back in court, and she ends up pleading guilty, plus taking on a hate crime charge. I guess they finally decided to charge her with a hate crime, and she also pled guilty. So when I'm sitting here saying to myself, I say, okay, don't get too excited about this, because that means there's something coming right around the corner with this. Time has gone by. We haven't heard much of anything else since then, until today on June 4th, 2024, when it comes out that they have dropped the hate crime charges against Miya Ponsetto for what she did to that little boy back in 2021. Is anybody in the least bit surprised by any of what I said before I just said the last thing I said? Or you should, well, you know what? You shouldn't be. Operation Protect the White Woman strikes yet again. And this shows you right here how this picture right here shows you how a while ago this was, because she has a mask on. They all have a mask on, because that's like the last picture we saw of her going into court. I think this is right around the time when she was going to court about the hate crime charges that they actually hit her with. But I said, don't get too excited, because anything can happen. And sure enough, it did. Because in the New York Post, it said that they ended up dropping those hate crime charges. I really don't care to know anything else besides that fact. The fact that they dropped them already lets you know that they probably had no they were not trying to go any further into pursuing with those hate crime charges. Let's be real here. What she did do was a hate crime. She did, and she practically assaulted this boy. She ran over and she tackled him. We all saw the video. We all saw it. The world, as far as I know, saw what she did. And look, and like I said, she has a history. This is not her first run-in with the law. Even prior to this, this woman has always had an issue. But they want to call black people thugs. No, your thug is right there on that screen with her big ass elf ears. That's your thugstress right there. But see, she can maneuver in a way and try to dress herself up in a way to make her not appear one way, as if we were supposed to forget about what she did. I was able to pull all of what I said from memory, because I remember talking about all of that stuff without having to read one thing from the article, because I know that article probably didn't cover it. But yes, this woman has a history of bad behavior, but it was just that incident right there. She finally got caught up. Now that they've dropped the hate crime charge, which was the biggest charge that they had against her, and she took that plea deal, this woman will probably get hit. If she gets hit with anything, it might be probation, if that. Like I said, I didn't read too much farther into it, but if she didn't even get probation, I wouldn't be surprised by that anyway. They might as well just let this woman just walk. Like, literally, that's practically what she did. Remember, after she did what she did, they didn't hold her in New York. She flew back to California. People were so pissed with Alvin Bragg with the lack of handling with this. And I think Alvin Bragg just became the DA when this happened. So not to piss off his constituents, he let this woman fly from New York back to California, where they had to basically, after like a couple of weeks and outrage from the people, extradite her from California back to New York, when she shouldn't have even had the opportunity to leave. That's why I said, when it all boils down to it, I blame Alvin Bragg for all of this. If he actually did what he was supposed to do with this situation, who knows what the outcome could have been. But the fact that they handled her with kid gloves, as if to make it seem like she was the victim. I'm still stuck on her calling this little boy a man, as if he was the one that did her wrong, and that she was the little helpless, delicate dandelion. And people wonder why we have an issue with people like her. It's crazy how many people forgot about this story. Even with this coming up and her not being charged with the hate crime, people can look at that and say, who is this woman? I didn't forget about her. The only reason I didn't talk about her because there were no updates. There was nothing to talk about until now. But yeah, Miya Ponsetto is utter garbage juice, and so is Alvin Bragg, for a multitude of reasons, but definitely this one right here, and of course how he mishandled the Jonathan Major situation. But something tells me, with her track record and the fact that she believes she can get away with everything seemingly, she's gonna mess up again. Something tells me we're gonna hear about her in the news again. I don't know when, I don't know what for, but something just tells me she's gonna end up right back in the radar again. She's not gonna just be a blip. If she had that history before she did this, she's gonna have that history after, just for the simple fact that she feels like, I've been emancipated. That doesn't, but at the end of the day, she may not have gotten hit with those hate crime charges. For all we know, she got hit with any charges, and they might be lesser charges. The fact of the matter is, that video of what you did remains on the internet. Anybody can pull that up when they type your name in, and they'll know the type of person you are. It doesn't matter how much you dress yourself up, what kind of makeup you put on, or all of that stuff right there. In the eyes of the people who are aware of who she is, will know her for the gutter trash that she is. It doesn't even matter where she lives. Her mentality is basura.